Welcome back. I'm Andrew Heaton.
Oh, are you? I'm Robby Soave. Is Usha Vance okay? Jen Psaki doesn't think so. In fact, she wonders if the second lady is secretly opposed to her husband's policies and looking for an escape. That's sort of an insulting notion. Let's watch.
I think the little Manchurian candidate, J.D. Vance, wants to be president more than anything else.
Yeah.
I always wonder what's going on in the mind of his wife. Like,
Agreed.
Are you okay? Please blink 4 times.
Yes.
We'll come over here. We'll save you. And that he's willing to do anything to get there. And that your whole iteration you just outlined, I mean, he's scarier in certain ways.
He's smarter.
In some ways. And he's young.
Yeah. And ambitious.
And agile in the sense that he is a chameleon who makes himself into whatever he thinks the audience wants to hear from him. Now, what's also true, though, is J.D. Vance is not – he's in some ways goodish on paper if you like what he believes in. I don't know. But I don't know that he can take the whole movement with him.
No way.
I don't think so either.
There's no riz.
It's got no riz, right?
None.
And he just is a little odd. And
Totally.
so Trump's odd in a different way. So I'm skeptical of that. So yeah, he's got to. I mean, everything going on right now, and I think we have to be very clear-eyed about this, is about trying to manipulate the public around elections. And
Speaking of ladies, MSNBC wonders why the talented women of the Democratic Party are not faring better in terms of winning elections. Take a look.
It really is incredible when you have Abigail Spanberger, Mikey Sherrill, her background, all the different jobs that she has held in the military, and also like Alyssa Slotkin. I mean, my God, these women are incredible. And to them, I would say, fight, because we need them.
Yeah.
We need them leading.
And Mikey is like, she's doing a ton of interview. You know, when I talked to them, when I was in the car, you know, it was this car, she had gone from interview to talk to, but you know, you still see the anxiety.
Yeah, Cheryl did have a few missteps in her campaign, but she still has, as you say, about a 5 or 6 point lead per polling. Spanberger's lead in Virginia, a little bigger than that. But, you know, both still competitive races here heading into the last couple of weeks. But to Mika, to Molly's point, I mean, this is something that a lot of Democrats are grappling with right now. Is they've nominated women 2 of the last 3 elections for the presidency, lost both. There are some who say, well, we can't do that again. The stakes are too high. But, of course, that does fall into the same misogynistic trap.
Other countries have no problem electing women.
Ladies, you know, we love them. The funny thing, of course, is that a woman is going to win the Virginia governor's race anyway because the opponent is also a woman.
Yeah, I was about to say Winsome, the Republican candidate.
Woman.
Many credible pundits believe she is a woman.
What is a woman?
Yeah, what is so either way, unless the
question.
libertarians take it and nominate a former magician or something, and the crazy dark horse candidate wins, probably a woman will win that race.
Not all, which way does it go? Not all libertarians are former magicians, but all former magicians are libertarians, or is it the other way around?
It's the other way around.
Okay,
yes,
that makes
it's the other way
sense.
around. Yeah.
Anyway, we won't practice our sleight of hand, though you and I are both clearly proficient in it.
We both do shorthand magic, all that stuff. Yeah,
of course.
I don't think the premise that America's shitty is actually a great premise to run campaigns on.
Yeah.
I felt the same way when Trump was running on how, you know, blood in the streets, America's off. I think America's pretty good. There is sexism in America. There is racism in America. But like, if you want to get really reductive, a very simple question is, do you think America is mostly decent and there are sexists and racists in it? Or do you think it's mostly misogynistic and mostly racist and there are some bright spots? I'm very firmly in the former camp. I think it's mostly a good country. And that when we get into this, I'm sure that there is some amount of sexism that influences the election. I don't think it's the predominant factor.
There might be more sexism than racism, honestly.
I think you're probably so. I think that's probably true in every culture.
We did easily elect a black man.
We did.
We declined to elect a white woman and a black woman, although I don't think the race or gender are the primary factors there at all, but the unlikable.
If Sarah Palin had been running against old white guy Joe Biden, I'm fairly confident Republicans would have turned out for Sarah Palin. I do not think these same people would have gone. It's
very marginal.
Being a patriarchal bigot, I would prefer Joe Biden over the populist Republican Sarah Palin. I don't think that would have happened.
Right. It's just a weird thing that keeps coming up. Now, it is the case that race has started to depolarize a little bit as the result of this most recent election. What I mean by that is there were more different races voting for Donald Trump than for previous Republicans. I think the statistic is that he won outright, like first-time male black voters, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. Did really well with immigrant voters, the kind of Mexican,
did
South
much
American,
better than Romney with Hispanic votes and black votes.
Kinds of people are supposed to hate him, but there is emerging more of a gender split than there used to be. I remember reading, I think it's the Cartoons Hate Her Substack account. It's a great account about how if you thought we're about the same age, if you're growing up late
48?
90s, are you really 48?
I just look 48.
Yeah, you do. 90s, early aughts, what is young people are rebelling against a kind of Christian, conservative, Bush-era patriotism. And now, the form rebellion takes is rebelling against your, white liberal mother type person who hates Trump, right? That is the kind of stereotype of someone who's on Facebook forming resistance groups, who's watching those people on MSNBC worked up about Trump. That's like a white woman archetype. And there is some truth to that.
Yes, I think that's true. And I think, again, there is sexism. But when Kamala Harris lost, there were people that went, well, because, she's black and she's a woman, that's why she lost. And I was like, I think it's because she was a bad candidate.
Right.
And the problem with saying that, aside from impugning the country, is, are you really going to curry favor with voters going, well, you didn't vote for us last time because you're bigoted, but maybe if you quit being a bigot, you'll vote for. I would feel inclined to go, well, maybe I'm not going to vote for you because you think I'm a bigot. I don't think that that's actually a good long-term strategy. And I think that it also ends up creating a situation where rather than doing some soul searching on maybe why your candidate lost or why your message isn't going, you can just blame it on the electorate and go, well, the electorate's so shitty that they couldn't see what we were great about. And that's not a great place to be. Also, many other countries have had female prime ministers and presidents, but recently when the New Zealander prime minister stepped down, got elected, everybody was really thrilled. They elected a socialist, and then she got into trouble with agriculture. She ended up stepping down, and then the reason that was invoked was sexism. It wasn't a problem when she came in, and it appeared to be, I don't know a lot about internal Kiwi politics, but it became a canard that could be thrown out as a way of going, well, it wasn't bad policy, it wasn't bad candidate, it was you guys are bigots.
Right. And they keep putting up these uninspired, so the main Senate election that is going to be up against Susan Collins, who's the last Republican still standing in a solidly blue state. And their choices are
a socialist and a skeleton. Those are the options that they're vying with.
Well, and unfortunately, the socialist, the tattoo thing, I actually wrote about that in my newsletter. And I would be the last person to go, oh, it's a Nazi. They say everything's Nazi, right? Elon Musk moves his hand gesture the wrong way, Nazi. You make the OK symbol, Nazi. Nazi this, Hitler this, Hitler that. Now, there are some young Republicans who need to please stop with that whole stuff. But I'm the one always just disregarding that. And skull and crossbones, I thought that was a pirate thing. But he has the version of it that is the Nazi version, and he got it in Croatia. And he was drunk, but then he, according to Jewish Insider, which maybe is not a source to be believed on this, I have no idea, said that he knew it was, he said it was the Totenkopf, which is the Nazi terminology.
There was an anonymous source.
So if you know that, then that's...
There was an anonymous source that was in there.
Yeah.
Apparently, he used to be a bartender at the Tune Inn. Do you know the Tune Inn?
Nope.
For anybody that visits D.C., the Tune Inn is a glorious old institution where very, very
it's in D.C.?
veteran drunk lobbyists go get sauced. It's great. If you're visiting D.C. and you want to hear old drunks spill shit, go to the Tune Inn. That's some advice from Lord Uncle Heaton to you. He used to be a bartender at the Tune Inn. Now, according to that particular story, very fun guy. After hours, will take his shirt off and drink with the lads.
Right.
And somebody said, he's got he made a joke that's my Totenkopf. That is possible. I would say that during a heated election, there is an equally good chance that an anonymous source has been fed to a particular publication in order to hurt his political prospects. I am innocent until proven guilty with people in general. Also, I don't need to Nazify somebody to think that they're a bad candidate.
Right.
If you go on Reddit and say you're a communist and then you're endorsed by Bernie Sanders, I don't want to elect people that are going to allocate resources based on interpretive dance and finger painting.
But I also don't want to elect people, the opponent is a Democratic establishment-picked person who will be 79 when sworn in, which will be the oldest freshman senator in political history. Why do they keep doing this? They have senators dying in office who are dead and still serving. And the Republican Party has this problem too. Democrats have it worse, to be clear. And they won't let anyone young or new ever take or hold any position of authority. Their knee-jerk response is to give their senior positions to the oldest person, even if that person is dying of cancer, as was the case with someone they picked for the top oversight role last year, who then died, which is sad. But oh my God, Eleanor Holmes Norton, our D.C. fake representative, because she's not allowed to vote on anything because D.C. doesn't have representation. She is, I believe, pursuing re-election at the young age of a gazillion. And she looks it. And I don't mean to beat up on old people. I'm accused of hating them all the time. And I would say it's not that I hate that. I hate and fear them. But they've configured our society to derive all the economic benefits of our welfare state, to tip it toward them. And they hold all the political power. And it just seems unfair to me.
Can I give you my very magician interpretation of how we could handle this? So term limits would be the way that we would normally handle this, right? And I think you could do it if you grandfathered people in. I think term limits would actually be pretty popular. If you just said, by the way, it doesn't apply to anybody currently in here, then I think they might actually do term limits. I think you could come up with a system where you serve one term, and then every term you have to get 5% more than the minimum amount. If you're serving as a senator for 40 years with 80%. Okay.
That's so bizarrely complicated. I really like it. That's a great idea.
Thanks. I really like these very, very complicated schemes.
You must, like me, enjoy finding slight improvements to old board games to make them more interesting.
This is absolutely true. Yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah. I proposed different rules for risk, which you mentioned
I'm a fan of.
I created a lot of alternative risk boards. This is what I did in college. I was real popular with the ladies, the subject of this video. I made a risk board that was the University of Michigan, which is where I went to college. I made one that was just China, one that was just Europe. I had a Lord of the Rings one. They, of course, have an official Lord of the Rings one, but mine was better. I had one for space, using all my fictional planets from some of my own science fiction. It was really high-quality stuff. And I created a morale system for your armies in risk, which if you roll a 1 instead of a 1, it is whatever your morale is.
Real? Okay, so it's like French at the beginning of the war.
Yeah.
Versus mission accomplished is a 7, something like that? Okay, I like that. I like this system. I would play this.
Yeah. Well, don't threaten me with a good time. I still have all these boards back in my apartment, so maybe one day I'll bring them in. Fun stuff. So. More free media right after this.